We are recording. How should I start?
A little bit of spice too, since you're feeling good.
All right. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the year-end episode of Commerce Central. This is going to be a very much less fun episode because you're just going to get me. I do have Ben here for some support, but this is really just an annual update on everything we worked on this year from a numbers perspective, from an economic development perspective, and the like. So I want to start out with just kind of telling you again, reminding everybody what we do here at the Chamber of Commerce. And we drive 4 initiatives in our community. Number 1, of course, is economic development. And that is all things industrial retention, recruitment, expansion. And then we support that with the workforce development effort as well. And that is conducted by Hope in our office, partnering with our schools and our higher education partners, whether it's our local TCATs, Hohenwald, Pulaski, UT Southern, Tennessee Tech, Columbia State. She brings all those people to the table for us to make sure that as we recruit new industry, as we support existing industry, that we can supply them with a qualified workforce. Something I forgot to mention, of course, is who drives economic development here at the Chamber, and that is myself and Mr. Ben Barnett. We work those existing industry expansion projects, helping them find resources as they have needs, as they grow, and of course, responding to requests for information that come from our economic development partners at the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development and the Tennessee Valley Authority. Thirdly, we believe tourism marketing is a key part of our economic development efforts here. Emma Robertson in our office is our marketing manager. She drives that along with Keely Allen, also here in the office, and we market 5 things in our community. Number 1 is David Crockett State Park. Number 2 is Tennessee's Amish Country. Number 3 are our annual events, such as the Middle Tennessee District Fair, maybe Christmas events, maybe sporting events. Sports tourism is a huge part of our local tourism strategy. We also market lifestyles, whether it's our downtown Lawrenceburg, downtown Loretto, the mom and pop shops, the things that make our community unique. That is an asset to us. And the 5th thing that we market is the outdoor adventure assets we have. Think Shoal Creek, think about, wheeling in the country, all things West Point, motorsports, and the like. There's a lot of natural and scenic beauty here in Lawrence County, like the Natchez Trace, or maybe it's a driving tour of our community. So that's kind of our tourism strategy. And then lastly, but not least, in fact, I would put this above all the others, is our community development efforts. Those are things like we tackle problems surrounding homelessness and other workforce issues. And maybe it's sponsoring art initiatives like new murals in our downtown areas. It's also our small business networking. It's our chamber coffees and ribbon cuttings and our magazine and Leadership Lawrence, which is a big part of that. And that's also driven by Beth Keaton and Keely Allen here in the office. And then, of course, Gwen, who is our Director of Operations, makes sure that we stay on budget and on time for all of those things. So that was a very fast kind of what the Chamber does, who we are, as well. But today is all about economic development. This is the year-end economic development update. And so I've prepared a presentation for us today. And I want to give you a quick kind of community overview. We're going to talk about the existing state of our labor shed, our workforce development initiatives, and then also look into the future. So to start, the county seat of Lawrence County is, of course, Lawrenceburg, and the 2020 census tells us that the population grew about 12%. So we're hovering just under that 12,000 person range. The county population grew 5.5%. We're just over 44,000 persons. We think this is a huge win for us. It's not explosive growth, but it is sustainable growth. When you look at the population within our labor shed, we define that labor shed as a 45-minute drive time. So that's about 186,000 people. And of course, our cost of living in our community, we know, is lower. That's helping drive a lot of this growth. The cost of living index, with 100 being kind of the zero, the standard, the average across the nation, ours is 78, which means we're a 22% lower cost of living here in Lawrence County. But how do we stack up for the rest of the region? So I like to look at North Alabama and the rest of southern Middle Tennessee as kind of our region to show some comparison, the 2020 census again tells us that we're just over 44,000 persons. And as you can see, the west side of southern Middle Tennessee, which I kind of say 65 divides east and west, right? The west side, you can see we're the second largest county on our side of the region, with Murray being the largest. They actually eclipsed 100,000 people this year with some explosive growth. But we think we're a pretty big deal too here in Lawrence County. But we're also fortunate to have our neighbors in Lauderdale County and in Limestone County, Alabama's. Limestone County, which is Athens, also exceeded 100,000 persons after the census this year. So we are in a very high growth area. In fact, I'm going to show you the exact numbers. We added 2,290 new neighbors in Lawrence County this year. How does that stack up with the rest of the region? Well, as you can see, Murray County saw an influx of 20,000 people. Limestone County saw an influx of 20,000 people. But you can see around us by percentage here that we are one of the faster growing on our side of the region. Again, Murray County having that explosive 24.7% growth, Limestone County having 20%. But as you can see, it's kind of going our direction, right? It's coming down from the Nashville area. It's coming over from the Madison County, Huntsville area, and it is hitting us because, well, a number of reasons, but I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. By the numbers, again, economically, our per capita income is way up from the time it was 5 years ago. We're sitting about $21,720 per capita. Of course, median household income is what we look at when we're talking to real estate developers or retail developers. I guess 6 years ago when I started, that number was about $10,000 less. Today, we're sitting just under $44,000 per household. Now, everyone wants to know when we're going to get the new restaurant, when we're going to get the Chick-fil-A or the Cracker Barrel or whatever. We have to meet some median household income requirements in order for us to get that. And a lot of those requirements are actually $45,000 to $50,000 per household, right? They measure that in discretionary income, and we just haven't hit that yet, but we're on our way, and that's good. Now, the other two pieces of information on this slide are median gross rent and the average home price. Now, these are provided by the Census Bureau, but if you've known anything about the housing market, and it's not novel to Lawrence County, but these numbers are lagging a little bit. Median rent right now says that you should probably be paying about $660 for a 2-bed, 1-bath apartment. I don't know anyone, especially in the new construction world, that's getting less than $750 to $800 right now per unit. But then also average home price, that's a typical 3-bed, 2-bath home, $225,000. As you know, that is not happening because it is still a seller's market here in Lawrence County. But we like to also track our businesses. We've seen a lot of new businesses start up here in our community. In fact, there are 738 small businesses in Lawrence County that have employees. But we have a number of employers or businesses, if you will. I guess they're not really employers if they don't have employees, but we have almost 3,000 businesses total in the county. So we think that's really impressive from as far as a non-employer establishment perspective. To put that in perspective nationally, as far as jobs go, that's an 8.8% increase in employment over the past 10 years. What's interesting is nationally, that number hovers just under 1.5%. That means that and I love this word, but we quintupled the job growth rate in Lawrence County as it compares to the national. So we're growing 5 times faster than the rest of the nation from a new business perspective, from a jobs perspective, and we're very grateful for that. Of the 738 employer establishments, they pay over $300 million in payroll annually. So as you can see, this is why as a community, our economic development efforts are hinged on manufacturing and small business growth, because the more businesses we have, the more employees there are, which means the more wages are paid, which means a greater quality of life for our friends and neighbors here in the county. Now, speaking of new industry recruitment, since 2016, and this is data that we've sourced from the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development, we've actually landed about 11 new projects, but we're going to use the ECD numbers to be consistent with our data. We've recruited or helped 9 projects expand in Lawrence County since 2016. Those 9 projects aren't 9 companies. I think it's actually 6 or 7 different companies have committed to create 1,002 jobs by 2023 is that number at this rate. Those 9 projects brought with it a total $46.1 million of capital investment. What's even more exciting is as you look at that 45-minute drive time, new jobs and these project announcements account for 1 in 7 of the entire region. That means that in the 45-minute drive time, there's more than 7,200 new jobs coming or have been announced since 2016. Many of those still to come is what I'm trying to say there. But Lawrence County accounts for 1 in 7 of those new jobs. Again, how do we stack up in the region? Again, we're going to kind of hone in on the west side of southern Middle Tennessee, which is the left part of the screen there. Lawrence County stacks up pretty well. Murray County landing 23 projects since 2016. We have landed 9. You can see the interstate access to the eastern, or for our eastern neighbors, kind of give them an edge as they've won kind of a greater concentration of projects. But our side of the region is seeing quite a bit of growth. Here's what it looks like as far as committed jobs, though. As you can see, Lawrence County is number 2 in the region, just behind Murray. Well, I would say just behind Murray County. They've had more than 5,700 new job commitments, which again is a positive impact to our economy. But we're number 2 behind Murray County. So again, still leading our side, or the region really, us and then Lincoln County over there in Fayetteville. And our friend Elaine does a great job over there supporting her existing businesses as well. As far as new capital goes, you can see we're kind of at the lower end of the pack for new capital. Murray County is actually the fastest, or the most in Tennessee, I should say, with $5.36 billion across multiple industries. But you can see a greater amount of capital going toward the interstates in the eastern part of the region, with $126 million in Marshall County and 63 million in Coffee County. But we have a pretty hefty, almost $50 million of new capital committed since 2016. We call that CapEx. That's capital expenditures. So when we get a new project in, we look at the new jobs, we look at the CapEx, and then we also look at wages to make sure that it's going to be competitive for our area. Another thing we measure from an economic development perspective is the national ranking. So I went back over the past 10 years. So these are our national rankings for 2012. This is out of the more than 3,000 counties in the nation. So in 2012, Lawrence County ranked 2,807th out of more than 3,100 counties in the nation. That means we were in the bottom 10% for unemployment, poverty, per capita income. That means we were distressed. As you can see, a number of us on the western side of southern Middle Tennessee were distressed in that time period as well. Hickman, Perry, Lewis, Wayne, and Lawrence was kind of the concentration of distress for Middle Tennessee over the past decade. What's exciting is that we jumped a lot of spots. In fact, only one county in our region remains distressed. That would be Perry County. Everyone else has moved out of that ranking, and that's really good news. As you can see, Lawrence County has jumped almost 600 spots. So that tells us what we're doing is working. Marshall County also jumping 1,200 spots. Murray County jumping 1,200 spots. So southern Middle Tennessee, I'll quote my friend Lindy, who works at the state of Tennessee for Northern Middle. She said Northern Middle's on fire. I would submit to you Southern Middle, for all intents and purposes, is also on fire with growth. But let's look at that, how it looks from a ranking perspective across the state. So I went and I analyzed all 95 Tennessee counties. Here are the top 20 fastest improving for national rank. And this is exciting. 7 of the top 20 fastest improving counties in national ranking in the state of Tennessee are in southern Middle Tennessee. Murray and Marshall County taking the top 2 spots. Giles County being in 5th place. Moore County over there in Lynchburg, 7th place. Bedford County, Shelbyville, 8th place. Lawrence County coming in at the 12th fastest improving for national rank in the state of Tennessee. Let's look at the same thing here with per capita income change. We're going to use the last census numbers. So that was updated in 2010. We got those statistics in 2011. So as you can see, Lawrence County has seen a 61% per capita income change since 2011. It's very strong. Again, 4 of the top 20 fastest improving counties in Tennessee for per capita income come from southern Middle Tennessee. Lewis County, our friends and neighbors to the north, they're taking the 3rd spot. Lawrence County taking spot number 8. One thing that we also measure is the unemployment rate. And honestly, we don't like doing that from a month-to-month basis. It fluctuates too often. If we saw anything with COVID, we saw a lot of up, down, up, down, up, down. we like to look at the 3-year average, as does the state of Tennessee. So in 2022, our 3-year average, so meaning fiscal year 2022, so ending next year, our 3-year average, which goes back to 2018, says that we have a 4.2% unemployment rate. And here's how it falls across southern middle Tennessee. As you can see, historic lows across the state, especially here in southern middle. Since 2011, so in 2011, our 3-year average unemployment rate was actually 5.5% greater than it is today. This is my favorite slide because, as you can see, Lawrence County leads the way across the state in the 3-year average unemployment rate decrease. So Lawrence County being the fastest improving county in the state of Tennessee for that unemployment rate. But again, the story isn't just ours. 7 of the top 20 fastest improving are here in southern middle Tennessee, with Perry County being that second spot, Wayne 5th, Marshall 6th, Murray 8th, Lewis 10th, and Giles coming in 17th place. So again, you see our neighbors, of course, Wayne, Giles, Lewis especially being on that list. It's very good. Oh, and Murray also being on the list. Very good for all of us here. So that's by the numbers. And so if you didn't know this about me, I'm a numbers geek. I love what it means to our community, especially over time. It has taken leadership over the past decade from our local governments, from our city governments, from our chamber board. It's taken energy from chamber staff to make this happen. But above everything, it's our business leaders and our business owners that have helped us really attract new investment. They've invested the money themselves. They've put the capital at risk. They've created the new jobs. They've given families an increased income, and they've taken us from distress to at risk to today. Lawrence County is a transitional county, and again, among the fastest improving in the state. And we are so grateful for our business community for making that happen. But let's talk labor, because that's kind of the story of the day. And really it has been for a number of years. COVID exacerbated the issue. So we have worked over the past few months to best define, not better define, best define our labor shed. And we believe realistically, when we're talking to prospective companies, when we're talking to existing businesses looking for new people, that our target is within 45 minutes of the center of Lawrence County. So if you drop a pin or a dot in the very middle of the county, you can see within 45 minutes there are 186,000 people living there. As far as the labor force, though, because it's good to differentiate, and I'm going to toggle between slides right quick, there are 186,000 people that live in this area, but there are 67,000 workers. So again, in Lawrence County, when you look at the demographic breakup of the community, about 25% of our population is above the age of 65, 25% is below the age of 18, and working age, so 18 to 65, if you will, are about 50%. That's spot on with our region, as you can see. Well, it's not spot on. There's actually 30% of the population is in the labor force. So again, you see that there, 67,000, 186,000. But when we market to prospects, this is the number we're talking about, because we know that people that live in extreme northern Murray County or even Columbia, they're going to be commuting north to the Nashville area. Whereas if you tighten it up a little bit, these are our potential candidates for new companies and existing companies to take advantage of. So we've shrunk that from a 60-minute drive time to 45 minutes to make sure that this is your target labor. They're 67,000 strong. But what do? I show you this, don't get caught up in the size or what the slices of pie say, but look at the different colors of that. We always break out manufacturing, but of that 67,000, you can see we have a very diverse talent base. Healthcare is actually our largest industry sector by employment. Manufacturing is number 2. It's harder to see it here. Again, I wanted to just show you the diversity of our labor, but here it is by the numbers. Again, healthcare is just over manufacturing, not by much. We have quite a bit of office and administrators here, just under 6,000 workers. A lot in sales, a lot in business finance, logistics being huge, and you can see construction. They are taking the last place there. We need more. If you haven't heard, there's a crisis among all industries right now looking for labor. So if you are looking to move here, if you have maybe a kid in the school system, maybe you're in college yourself and you want to know, okay, I want to live in this area, what jobs are in high demand, you just look at this right here: healthcare, manufacturing, business, sales, office admin, logistics, repair, construction, even education of the arts. high demand area for growth. If you need a job, and let's say you're from outside our region and want to move here, you can come here and find a job pretty easily. As I said earlier, I don't like looking at the unemployment rate month to month, but I think this is really important to look at in light of COVID. So as you can see in October 2020, our total labor force was almost 20,000. That's the highest it's been since the mid-90s. In October 2021, you can see that it has decreased by more than 750 persons. The reason that is because the unemployment benefits, the additional federal unemployment benefits, to take advantage of them, you had to be counted within the labor force. So we saw an inflated total labor force quantity during the year 2020. So many times we go back and we look at the previous year to see, okay, have we recovered from COVID here economically? So I just toggled to compare October 2019 to October 2021. As you can see, a little bit, we've lost a little bit of our total labor force, about 332 is what this says. But just to be honest, that's very nominal. So I say that to say this: our labor force is about where it needs to be. This is what we were looking at pre-COVID. So we are, for all intents and purposes, from this perspective, quote unquote, recovered economically. But let's look at it from a total employed persons perspective. As you can see, again, from 2020 to 2021, again, looking at the month of October, nominal change in total employment. A little bit greater change from the previous year, but again, anything under 150, we're going to deem nominal. Total unemployed persons, this is interesting. Looking at 2020 again, you can see 1,300 persons. Again, that additional unemployment insurance kicking in. That's where most of that additional labor, total labor force came into play. But you saw a total decrease of unemployed persons from 2020 to 2021 exceed 660. That is a huge change. But again, looking back at 2019, you can see there 220. Still a big change. Nothing to gawk at though. But let's look at the change in total employment here. I'll toggle back and forth quickly. Unemployment rate in October 2020 was 6.8%. In 2021, we're at 3.6%. That's a 3.2% change. That's big. This is what we expect, though, traditionally is about a 1% change. With that said, both of those can still be considered full employment, so we're talking about workforce issues. Now, I mentioned earlier, we've supported 9 new expansions or new locations for industry across our manufacturing base. In Lawrence County, if you didn't know, we have 53 manufacturing operations, and they employ almost 4,000 people. Actually, I think the number is more than 4,000 people today. And so we believe that's a target of ours, but we actually have more manufacturing workers in the county than our businesses employ. And the thing is, that's because we have a strong regional economy. So when you look at commuter trends, this is where, again, we think our existing businesses can recruit people back. New businesses can take advantage of our commuters. Half of our workers commute outside of the county every day. We previously, a few years ago, we partnered with a few of our manufacturing operations. We put up billboards to say, give yourself a raise or ditch the drive and come back and work in our community because we have jobs available. That number was actually 66% of our workers were leaving every day. So that campaign worked. The recruitment efforts we've had, the expansion efforts we've had has given our businesses the ability to go ahead and retain some of those. So we've seen about a 16 to 17% drop in the commuter rate over the past 4 years, which is huge. But we still have work to do. But here's where people go, and this is what's interesting. So you can see Lawrence County highlighted there. There's a dot. We didn't count the people that live and work here for the purpose of this exercise. But you can see that we send over 1,100 people to Giles County every day for work. We send more than 2,100 people to Murray County every day for work. And these numbers here are staggering. We send just over 370 to Murfreesboro. We send 650 to Franklin. And we send almost 1,500 people a day to Nashville. Now, what we know about the Davidson County crowd, for example, is many of those are healthcare workers. And if you're local and you're watching this, you may be one of those healthcare workers as well. And that's awesome. But when we talk to manufacturers, we really kind of highlight the Murray and Giles County numbers. Murray County, quite a bit of healthcare goes that direction as well, but we know well over half go up there for manufacturing jobs. In Giles County, most of those are also manufacturing commuters. So again, a very strong manufacturing base in our regional economy. People love living here. That's one of the stories we tell because it's true. The numbers don't lie. Now, of course, we do get some inflow as well from our surrounding counties. Wayne County, Murray County, and Giles County exceeding the 300 mark. Again, Giles County sending nearly 500 persons over. So when we talk about talent to our existing industries and prospective businesses, we talk about this net number, right? We send a net 1,700 people to Murray County every day. We send a net 680 people. You can also see where people come from. Net 22 people drive from Wayne County to Lawrence County every day for work. A net 16 people, Lewis County. Again, this data is from a year ago. It's actually sourced around the start of COVID. So I would not be surprised if this hadn't changed quite a bit, especially the Davidson, Williamson, Rutherford numbers. I know a number of people that live here and they have flex schedules, right? Maybe they work in business or recruiting or whatever that looks like. They may go to Franklin 2 days a week and work from home 3 days a week. And so that's a trend that's going to be with us over time. It's good for our economy because it does mean an increased number of wages, which then increases the median household income in our community, which hopefully gives us the ability to recruit that next restaurant or retailer. So that's the existing state of labor in Lawrence County today. But we know while that's the existing state, businesses want to know what we're doing to prepare talent for tomorrow's jobs. So if you didn't know anything about Lawrence County schools, we have some of the best schools. Actually, I'll just say it, the best schools in the region. Seriously, the data tells us that the products, and I shouldn't say products, they're students, they're people, but the product that our system creates is great. The work ethic is there. Their skills are there. That's highlighted by a very fast improving career and technical education concentration rate. As you can see on the slide here, 2 in every 3 students graduate with a skilled trade. That's a big deal. 35% of our students are employed, which means they have work experience when they finish high school. But our system currently, this is sourced from the Tennessee Department of Education, has almost 6,500 students and a very high graduation rate, 95.4%. About 1 in 2, just over 1 in 2. So 57% of our students go on to a technical school, community college, or a university after graduation. But a lot of our students go ahead and enter the workforce. That's because we have a strong dual enrollment capacity with our TCATs and the Columbia State Community College. People are getting some being credentialed before they leave high school with the trade. And so we're very proud of that. But as far as developing a workforce, we have a very strong timeline in our school. So if I enter the school system from grades K to 5, I'm going to have ample STEM opportunities. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. In my later years of grades K through 5, I'm going to have industry experiences where maybe a business owner or manufacturing owner or operation comes into the classroom, or I'm going to go and I'm going to visit one of our local businesses itself. We're going to do career fairs. We're going to do surveys. And we have, again, Work Ethic Junior campaign. Our high school students go in and teach students how to shake hands and tie ties and make eye contact and communicate. And so that's grades K through 5 in our school system. In middle school, you're going to get a more in-depth industry tour and experience. You're going to start looking at those post-secondary options, visiting TCATs and universities and community colleges, and also have components of the Work Ethics Matter campaign there, trying to build teamwork and attendance and living a drug-free lifestyle, and also having good character. In high school, that's where the rubber really meets the road as people and our students kind of decide what direction they want to go. But for every career and technical education program in our school system, there's a correlating industry certification or dual enrollment opportunity. And we think that's huge as far as getting students credentialed, getting them experience as they move forward. We also leverage our partnership with the Ayers Foundation as we really plan for post-secondary success and promote apprenticeships, internships, and the like. And then we also go to the post-secondary market as well, leveraging now the UT Promise at the University of Tennessee Southern. We talk about the Tennessee Promise a lot, Tennessee Reconnect that gives our students going to a TCAT or community college tuition-free enrollment, which is a huge deal. And all of those students are supported by the AIRS Foundations with their college access counselors. So we track our students, make sure they're on track. We try to improve the retention rates. But that's what education looks like. That's what workforce development looks like in our community. You're getting it from the time you enter until you get a career. And we call that the K to career, kindergarten to career strategy. Now, to tell you about our career and technical education programs, we are working on having programmatic equity throughout the county. In fact, this year, Summertown High School added a welding program through a partnership with the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at Hohenwald. So now, for example, there's welding available at all 3 of our high schools. But as you can see, we have agriculture. That's another program that now is in all 3 of our high schools. Advanced manufacturing, automotive technology, building technology, which is construction. We have business, virtual enterprise. I'm a product of that program. It's absolutely fantastic. Cosmetology, digital design, engineering, health science, industrial maintenance, plumbing, and electrical. Again, students have a hands-on experience in our schools, while other systems across the state and even across the nation, they're trying to figure out how to revamp their career technical education. All we have to do is throw gasoline on it and put the pedal to the metal. Again, there's 13 programs. They enroll more than 1,300 students. As I mentioned, 66.8% of our students finish one of those programs. They are considered a concentrator with our CTE programs. Again, what that means for our business and industry or anyone looking to come to our community is that 2 out of every 3 of our graduates finish with a skilled trade. To put that in perspective, and I'll have to go back and check my data, but some of our surrounding counties were peaking out about 25%. That means 1 in 4. Graduating with a skilled trade. So we are leading the way in Southern Middle with CTE, and that's because of the partnership we have with Shannon Watson, she's our CTE director for the school system. Our director of schools, Mr. Michael Atkins, is committed to career technical education, and then doing so and having a position, the workforce development coordinator with Hope McDowell, supported by the schools, the county, and our local education foundation. Hope has been getting students into our industry. That's been a lot of fun. But as you can see in this next slide, we've had more than 2,100 student experiences last school year. So again, there's only 6,500 students enrolled in Lawrence County schools. More than 2,000, or 1 in 3, have an industry experience throughout the year, and we think that's really important. But now let's talk higher education. So when we talk about, that pathway and getting students where they need to go, we kind of look at our local assets, of course. And here's a map of Southern Middle Tennessee, and you can see we've highlighted there with the graduation caps in the circles. Those are the 4-year public universities or colleges. The hat without the circle is a technical college or a community college. So you can see, sorry, I toggled too quickly there. As you can see there in Murray County, Columbia, that's Columbia State. In Lewis County, that's TCAT Hohenwald. As you can see in Giles County, there's the University of Tennessee Southern and TCAT Pulaski. Again, going down to the Shoals area, the University of North Alabama and Northwest Shoals Community College. When we talk to businesses about our higher education assets, that's who we look at. We look at that 45-minute commute time. And as you can see, our 4-year public universities enroll just over 9,000 students, and they award nearly 1,900 degrees annually. The fall enrollment for the community colleges within our 45-minute labor shed, just over 7,500. They award 1,700 degrees annually. And then the same story can be told of our technical colleges, enrolling more than 1,100 annually. And awarding just over 300 annually. But what's interesting, while there was not a higher ed dot in Lawrence County, as you can see, we partner well with our higher education partners here in Lawrence County. So here's a map showing where all of the instructional service centers are in our community. So you can see TCAT Hohenwald has welding at Summertown. TCAT Pulaski has welding in Lawrenceburg and in Loretto. We have partnered now with TCAT Pulaski on an additional CNC machining program. That's actually at the Tennessee Enterprise Center. It is sharing space with TCAT Hohenwald that has an industrial maintenance program there as well. And then we have Southern Tennessee Higher Education Center, which is our communiversity or our collaborative college campus that houses Columbia State as the lead institution, Tennessee Tech, and also the University of Tennessee Southern. So as you can see, while we don't have the HQ for our higher ed partners, for example, we do have the assets here to meet our local demand. So again, that's where we are by the numbers. That's a community overview. That's the existing labor information. That gives you a snapshot on where we are today. Of course, tomorrow with workforce development, as you can see, we're building a workforce for tomorrow. But what's next? Like, what are we looking at? So I mentioned that we grew 5.5% since the last census that was taken. What's interesting is most of that growth happened since 2015. So we've added about 2,200 new people to our community. More than 2,000 came in the past 6 years. That's 4.9%. What we can expect is that trend to continue. We expect over the next 5 years to have another 2,400 people join our community, whether it's relocators or just the natural organic growth of our people. We expect that to be about 5.4% by 2025, an additional growth. If we don't do anything else right now, and I'm a little bit ahead of myself because we have to look back on jobs forecasting. Again, 6.4% of that 8% job growth rate happened over the past 5 years, adding 770 jobs. So again, as I mentioned, we have recruited or helped existing companies expand, creating 1,000 new jobs. As we know right now, 770 of those jobs have been created. So that means another 250 are coming right now. But we expect or have seen 6.4% job growth rate over the past few years. If we don't do anything else right now, the organic growth and the multiplier effect of those new jobs, we can expect another 950 new jobs in our community by 2025. That's a 7.4% job growth rate. Again, the national job growth rate hovers between about 1.5%, 2% on a good day. So again, high growth area here in Lawrence County. Let's look at the past, or let's look again at median income. We do expect that to increase another 7%. Inflation is starting to catch up. So as far as true growth, it may not look exactly what we were hoping for as businesses kind of reevaluate what that median income requirement is for new developments. But we do expect 7.5% median household income growth by 2025 and a 10% increase in per capita income. Housing is a big issue for us right now. We are courting a number of housing developers. We're focusing on entry level, trying to get young people back to our community. So think apartments and townhomes and starter homes. But we're seeing a number of new subdivisions go in and around the city of Lawrenceburg, the city of Loretto, a lot in the north end around the Summertown area, of course at Etheridge. Actually, I'm just naming the entire county. We're seeing housing everywhere. But what we can see and expect over the next 5 years is about a 10% increase in home values organically. Again, they're inflated right now, but that's still going to persist. But we can expect just organically another 500 homes. I can tell you that's probably not going to keep up with the growth that we're seeing. In fact, housing is going to be a barrier to that population growth. Now, let's give you a snapshot of our economic development efforts to date. Over the past year, so year to date, we've received 76 requests for information. Those are typically prospective businesses that have reached out to a consultant or directly to the state of Tennessee or TVA or another one of our economic development partners. And they've asked for site information or community information or utility information. So we've received 76. Typically, an RFI represents one company. So of all those companies they are looking to locate 14,000 jobs somewhere and invest more than $10 billion of capital. Now, what's interesting is that we've been able to submit on just under 50. I think actually the exact number is 49 projects is how many we've submitted on. We have not been able to submit on every single project because we don't have enough available industrial land or we don't have an available building. So there's a lot of capital flowing out there right now, and it's really, really exciting. But right now, we are working 9 active projects. So again, as a disclaimer, we can't win all 9 of these. We simply don't have the utility capacities, enough land, or enough labor to land all of these. But what I can tell you is that these 9 companies, which again, a project equals one company, they are looking to invest $5 billion somewhere, and they are looking to create more than 5,000 jobs. Now, one thing that we are seeing, and this is true across the Tennessee Valley region, especially in Tennessee, are a lot of electric vehicle suppliers. And this has been kind of the automotive industry has been kind of Tennessee's bread and butter. It's been our region's bread and butter for a long time. Many of our existing manufacturers work in this space. As you can see, Lawrence County is centrally located within what we call the Southeastern Automotive Corridor, especially along the I-65 corridor. This is a map provided to us by the Tennessee Valley Authority. As you can see, Tennessee's newest OEM there in West Tennessee is Ford. And we're seeing a lot of electric vehicle projects, but I just wanted to give you a quick look at what that looks like from a proximity perspective from our community. You can see we're a quick drive from multiple OEMs, whether it's US 64 going east-west, whether it's 43 going north-south. Again, we are in a great location, and that's why we've seen 11 electric vehicle related projects. And again, these projects are very, very big projects. These 11 projects account for more than 5,400 new jobs and $5.57 billion in capital investment. So I can tell you some of our active projects do include electric vehicle suppliers. They also include food projects and metalworking projects. So, but this is one of our targets because we have an abundance of power, an unbelievable capacity of water and wastewater, and then of course redundancy in natural gas. So we're very blessed with that. In fact, this is the part where Vic Pusser with Lawrenceburg Utility Systems would come in and tell you more about it. But we're actually taking live a substation in January 2022. It's another 100 megawatt substation that's going to provide redundancy to our industrial areas. That means high reliability. We have a ton of power. Again, if you're a prospect looking or hearing this maybe for the first time, we've got you covered with power, I promise. We also have you are ready for natural gas as well. We take natural gas from two suppliers, East Tennessee Natural Gas and Texas Eastern. We can give you as much natural gas as you need, high pressure. It's, again, unbelievable capacities there. Then water service and wastewater service. We have a water treatment plant that I believe has somewhere 5.5, 6 million gallons of excess capacity a day. Wastewater, we have a plant that is rated, I think, at just over 11.25 million gallons a day, but we have 9 million gallons of excess capacity of sewer. So lots there. And then we have redundant broadband service. Again, Loretta Tell, Jason Shelton, Skybest Company, he came and did an episode of Commerce Central with us, being one of those great partners for us as well. So I know that was fast. I know many of y'all probably just experienced me talking like an auctioneer that fast for the very first time. But I wanted to make sure everyone knew what we're working on as a community. Our economic development efforts are strong. We're very targeted. We're looking forward to a very exciting 2022. But as always, if you are a prospective business, if you're an existing business looking to grow, reach out to the chamber. We're here to help. We may not have all the resources here, but we know the people who can help you and will help you. And again, we're here for y'all, whether it's labor, whether it's utilities, we'll get you to the right person. But that's the 2021 year-end update. I cannot believe the year's over. So with that said, have a happy new year, and thanks for joining us on this week's episode of Commerce Central. Cool.